please take the floor and enlighten us.
Yes, I will. And well, thank you for having me and for inviting me to contribute to this training and conference. Like Wiege mentioned, my name is Boudewijn Grievink. I'm based in the Netherlands, and over the last couple of years, I've been working quite a bit on well, vocational education and innovation and well, education development in vet education. And today, I would like to share some of my recent experiences with you. So let me share my presentation. So I slightly changed the title while preparing it, and I will basically tell you how you can use a tool called an empathy map to well, innovate and well, educate digitally and also in an inclusive manner. What I would like to do in the next 30 minutes with you is I will briefly say something about the organization I'm working for, a network I'm actually working for. And also where my experience was coming from, which is the Erasmus Centers of Vocational Excellence. And I think you've seen Michaela earlier. So she's part of one of these Centers of Vocational Excellence, and that's also where well, this experience came from. And we'll share some lessons learned with you. So on the one hand, it will be on a digital tool that we used quite a bit, well, mainly due to COVID. Which is the Miro whiteboard, and on the other hand, I will show you what an empathy map is. And since it is a workshop, by the end of the workshop, you will also have practiced a little bit with this tool. So hopefully that will be useful for you in your daily practice as well. So first of all, briefly, Catapult is a network of educators in the Netherlands and educators that are working together with well, employers, governments, to make sure that the curriculums are up to date, that students get the right skills, lifelong learning courses are being developed, and that applied research can be done. In the Netherlands, we have about 450 of these projects, so that's at all vet schools, at all University of Applied Science, and most of the research universities as well. And what we're trying to do in the Catapult network is basically to share best practices, tools that work, in order to prevent that people have to reinvent the wheel. So we are really an open source learning community funded by the Dutch government, aiming that we can basically offer the best education that we can offer. And if you're curious about, well, what it exactly looks like, that would take another half hour to present, so I'm not going to do that now. But if you see the QR code on the slide, you can just scan it with your phone, and in a little video we will explain well, what these public-private partnerships are actually doing. And over the last 3 to 4 years, this idea of public and private collaboration in education has been spreading across Europe. So the European Commission has said, okay, well, we want education to be at the forefront at all levels, so also at vet level, at University of Applied Science level, and to make sure that we have the properly skilled people and that today's talent has the right skills to build a great tomorrow, because we have the digitalization challenge, we have the green transition that we have to do. We want to be inclusive in Europe. And one of the instruments the European Commission has come up with is the Erasmus Centers of Vocational Excellence. And well, I've been involved with the urban greening and the water center, and I will share some experience from that practice. What we do at Catapult is to really share tools that we see being used in practice and share that with others. So, for instance, when you are developing a lifelong learning course and you would like to know who your stakeholders are, who the companies are, or the workers are that would like to follow that course, we have tools how you can map those stakeholders, but also how you can really co-create your content together. Again, if you scan the code, you will see all the tools, but today I will just highlight the empathy map because I think it's a quite well, accessible and easy tool to use. Then a little bit about the Erasmus Centers of Vocational Excellence. It's basically part of the Erasmus program, so it's an instrument by the European Commission. and every school in Europe can apply for such an grant to work together with a consortium on basically skills related or work-based learning related issues. And the reason why the European Commission has started this instrument is that we realize that societal challenges are just too big to solve by one stakeholder. So we cannot stay in our education silo or in our employer silo or in our government silo. We really have to reach out to each other and tackle these issues together. And we have to do so because, changes are going quickly. So the way we educate people today is just not sufficient for, the quick changes that are going on. So we have to find a way how to collaborate and make sure that, the skills are updated, and also that workers that have graduated come back to the schools and update their skills and, for instance, get the latest digitalization skills. So how do these centers do this? It's basically by bringing together stakeholders in regional skills ecosystems. So the schools, the governments, employers, they are really being brought together by these centers of vocational excellence and discuss, okay, well, what is needed in our region to make sure that we have the properly skilled people. This is happening on a regional level, but also on a European level. So, for instance, with the European Platform for Urban Greening, we have these centers in each climate zone in Europe. So, for instance, one in Spain, one in the Netherlands, one in Denmark, one in Finland, and one in Romania. And in every region, these centers are working together on what is needed to keep cities green and livable and biodiverse in terms of climate change. But also on a European level, we are exchanging knowledge, we are exchanging students, we're doing online workshops. So, for instance, in the Netherlands, we have quite a bit of knowledge on biodiversity, and by online learning modules, we're offering those courses also to employees of the companies in Denmark and Finland. If you would be interested in such a center of vocational excellence, it can be about any topic or also on a transversal topic, so to say. So if you would like to do something in digitalization or on inclusion, that's possible as well. And then the big question is, okay, well, what are these centers actually doing? And that's innovating the curriculum, lifelong learning courses they develop together, sharing facilities, for instance. So if, like, for instance, you have a research facility on offshore wind, in Belgium, why should we build one in the Netherlands as well if we can also just come across or use VR or AR to use the same facilities? International mobility is an important activity, applied research, and also to this network building, and how to build a network in times where we don't want to travel as much anymore as we used to, because we are a little bit ashamed of flying maybe, or maybe we don't have the time anymore, or because of COVID we don't want to travel as much anymore because we know we can have digital meetings as well. That's the big question, and we have some lessons learned from the water project, for instance, how you can still collaborate in an online environment and still achieve goals. And on the one hand, we were forced a little bit due to COVID to use this, but on the other hand, we also quite like to continue using it now. So the digital tool we are using is the website myro.com, which is a digital interactive whiteboard, and I will show you a little bit about this board later on as soon as we start working on the empathy map. And the nice thing about it is that you can just register, log on, and the first 3 boards you get for free. So if you're a teacher and you would like to use this in your class, for instance, you can just log on, start using it, and try it. Because with these digital tools, you have to feel comfortable with it. So it's a good way of just accessing it and trying how it works. So you see, for instance, on the right-hand side where we did an exercise in mapping who were the partners of a Center of Vocational Excellence. People were just putting online sticky notes to a board, and we collected this information like that. If you decide, okay, well, actually, this is something for me, the even better news is that a professional account is free for educators. So if you register with your school account and say, hey, I'm working for a university or for a school, you will get the account for free. And personally, what I really like about it is that you can combine it very handy in both Zoom and MS Teams in combination with breakout rooms. So you can take a big group put them in breakout rooms and let them work on the whiteboard. So as a teacher or as a facilitator of a workshop, you can keep the overview very easily, and all the participants still have the feeling like, yes, I'm interacting with my fellow colleagues or fellow students. The second tool I would like to share with you is the empathy map that I already mentioned. And that's basically a tool that helps you to take the perspective of your target group. Because what we see happening in the Centers of Vocational Excellence is that companies say, well, we need a lifelong learning course. And then the school says, yes, we can do this. And they start developing this course, and they make an amazing course. I mean, material looks great and it's all amazing. But as soon as they put it out there, no one shows up. And quite often this has to do with the fact that they didn't take into account the perspective of the employee who's supposed to take the lifelong learning course, for instance, or they didn't think about, okay, well, where should we advertise it? Because they just put it up on their website and then they are surprised, okay, well, no one's coming. And this empathy map is basically a tool to help you think about, okay, well, where can I find my audience? How's my audience thinking? And how can I really reach out and make sure that there's like a feedback loop, so I create the educational content that they really need and will use. Just as a reference source, again, I put on a QR code on the slide. It leads you to the POV Water website, where they basically created an overview of all the online tools they've used, and also the empathy map is there. So that's where I got my information from. So then the empathy map itself, it is a quite easy canvas, actually, where you put in the center your target audience, and preferably that's something you keep in your mind. So for instance, you're a student or an employee from a company that you would like to develop your lifelong learning course for, and you put them in the center. And well, we always advise, okay, make this someone you can actually call to check if your assumptions are right. And then you're going to map, okay, well, what does this person think and feel about, well, the topic you would like to work on? What does this person hear? What do friends say about, well, your school, for instance, or about doing lifelong learning? Maybe this person is hearing from his colleagues like, no, lifelong learning is a waste of time. Or maybe it's colleagues saying, well, I did a lifelong learning course and it was amazing. And through that route, you can actually engage with them. It's also a matter of, well, mapping what they say and do. So actually look at, okay, well, where are they going? And also what do they see? And at the bottom, you basically try to map, well, what are the pains of someone, and what are the gains of someone. So if we would take, for instance, a student that you would like to go on an international exchange program, one of the pains could be, well, I cannot go away from home for 6 months with Erasmus because I have to take care of children or of my family or something like that. And if your activity is like an intensive program, a short intensive program, you could actually relieve that pain by saying, okay, well, I have an international activity for you that allows you to just go away for 1 week from home, which is manageable with your care activities, and then you relieve the pain of the student. And by doing it in such a way, well, you are quite likely to convince the students to come on this activity. But maybe it's good to actually show you how this works. So I will stop share this screen and go to the Miro board. There we go. So what I've done as an example is to take a real life case of one of the urban greening project. And there we have like a company, it's the Grievink group. And they find it really important to green our cities because they believe that it increases the livability of cities and the biodiversity. So in Utrecht, where I'm living, they're, for instance, building this building. But you can imagine that like your average gardener who is used to just shovel weeds on like a horizontal level will struggle with abseiling from this building to maintain the gardens. And also in terms of, well, giving water to the plants, you need a different system than just your garden hose, for instance. So this creates the issue for the company that new innovations are going quickly. They need data on what works and what doesn't work, and they have staff shortages. So what they need is new knowledge, getting in touch with students. So this is for a school good to know, because then they can help. Okay, we can train our students maybe with some research or data collection skills, so they can actually help the company to collect data on, well, for instance, water management. And when it comes to well, reaching out to this company, on the one hand, they hear schools are bureaucratic, so we don't want anything to do with it. But they also hear colleagues speaking about, well, actually, this POV water project is working quite well. So using this channel of these other colleagues and using the flag of the POV water of this project, we are able to get in touch with the Ginkel group and convince them that they would like to do some applied research and projects with the students of this particular vet school. This is very briefly an overview of how an empathy map works.
You would have. Yes.
Okay, thanks, Boudewijn.
Thank you.
My pleasure. And